All right, welcome to Talk-Jitsu with host Uke Mike, Joey Breski, and me, Jordan Preisinger from Jordan Teaches Jiujitsu. We don't have Joey today, and you know, it's funny, we did a 2-week break from podcasting, but we actually did 2 podcasts during that time. But we had technical difficulties, so we're just gonna pray that this one goes well. Yes. You know, now we're actually checking everything, doing a little checklist, and yeah, it should be good. If it doesn't work, then man, I'm gonna be upset. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So first off, some really the news that was really popular within the jiu-jitsu scene. We'll only touch on it briefly because I think everyone's talked about it by now. But that guy getting paralyzed by his instructor. But yeah, I want to at least touch on that. So if anyone doesn't know what happened. Basically, a black belt had a white belt who had been training about 3 years or so in Turtle. He went for a back take. What's the back take called again? Do you remember?
It's a forward roll. I just can't remember the guy who popularized it.
Yeah, it's a forward roll. And the reason why it went wrong was that the white belt, he posted his head in the wrong direction, and that caused his neck to bend, which broke his neck and caused him to be paralyzed. But he did regain function of his limbs, not entirely. He's like hiking and whatnot, but yeah, definitely not a good thing to happen. That was pretty awful. I feel really bad for him. And I think it's really important we touch on the fact that to stay safe on the mats, you need to take care of your partners, and your partner needs to take care of themselves. It's like a 2-step process. It's both parties are responsible. So I think where it went wrong was obviously the guy posting his head in the wrong direction, but also the instructor, he did a very explosive movement, and he didn't make sure that the guy had his head bend in the right direction, which is crucial when you do a back take like that. So I don't think that he was malicious in any way, but I do think that he lacked awareness, and caution when he went for that back take.
From what I saw, the proper way to do it almost forces their head to turn the proper way. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I do that back take all the time, and I'm going to continue to do the back take because it's not dangerous if you do it right. And I'm not saying, well, he did do it wrong. Like he didn't force the head to bend, right? He had like a grip over the arm, and there was so much space for his head to be able to move. But if you watch the roll I do with Kieren on the channel, which will probably be up by the time people listen to this, or it might be a few days after, but you can see how it's done properly and safely because, man, you can't count on people to do the safe thing. You need to make sure that, it's safe at all times. So for example, in a roll I did on the channel, it was drilling. I did a balloon sweep on Jeff, who's a brown belt, and I tucked his head for him because, if I were to continue with the roll, he might spike his head on the mat. So, we got to keep each other safe. And, I saw a post on Instagram today saying like, your safety begins with you and ends with you. And I was like, no, like I do not agree with that at all, because I think that's a dangerous mindset. It's like saying that you can just do whatever because they got to take care of themselves. Yeah. But if I had that mindset, I would have injured so many people, and like literally like hundreds of people, because so many times that I'm rolling, I adjust what I'm doing based off of what they're doing unsafe. That's unsafe, right? Yeah. So you need to take care of your training partners and yourself. And if both partners do that, jiu-jitsu can be a very safe sport.
I'm pretty sure that almost every time you've had me in an arm bar, which is many, many times, that you give me almost like a few second chance to try to find my way out of it. And if I can't, which I 99% of the time can't, you just gently apply more pressure. You never crank it just to get the tap. You always have my safety in mind. And same with that balloon sweep. There was another guy, I can't remember his name. You tucked his head when he did the roll too. And you're just keeping your partner safe. I've done the same thing when I've had people in heel hooks and they go to spin the wrong way. I just let go because I don't need a tap that bad. They would have exploded their knee. You know what I mean? You got to take care of your partner. You got to keep them safe because you want them to keep you safe and be able to keep training with them.
Yeah, and not everyone has the awareness because, jiu-jitsu is not just about, getting better at jiu-jitsu. You also gain awareness of how to stay safe as well over time. It's not just something that just comes naturally. I mean, I didn't start out like, safe for myself and others, but over time I learned those skills, right? So I don't expect others that I'm rolling with to have those skills. I assume they don't when I'm rolling with them, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really disagreed with that Instagram post, because I think it's a dangerous mindset. But and it kind of, you know, like kind of goes into also something I wanted to touch on, that you know, we talked about last week, which was, you know, I had Kieren, my buddy, in a body triangle, and you know, he didn't tap, so I let go. And you know, but the problem was the damage was already done. You know, like he should have tapped way earlier. And you know, I saw a couple of comments saying that I was a dick for doing that, but like, no, like I let go when he wasn't tapping, which is what you need to do. So just, you know, when people don't have the right context, they can come up with all sorts of wild ideas about it, right?
Could you tell that he was in some pain, that's why you let go, or you just like, it's time to transition to something else?
Yeah, it was two reasons. It was like, you know, I could tell it was obviously hurting, but at the same time, I'm not going to keep trying to get something that's not there.
Yeah.
Like I always do that, safety or not. I transition to stuff because I don't want to work really hard. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was squeezing hard. Like you have to squeeze hard, you know, but like I didn't just put it on 0 to 100. You know, I put it on like medium intensity. Up the intensity, he's not tapping, so okay, I'll move on to something else. And you know, he didn't notice till after that his ribs were hurting, and that really sucks. I feel really bad for him, but you know, I felt like I did everything right, which was letting go. And yeah, I definitely felt really bad.
I think people underestimate some jiu-jitsu submissions. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people would say, oh, I would never tap from that. Well, obviously you haven't felt certain people's squeezes. You know what I mean? So I think maybe somebody might go into that thinking, I'm not going to tap until it's too late, you know?
Well, yeah, I heard some people too saying like, oh, they would never tap to pressure. But it's like, well, look what happens when you don't tap to pressure, right? Yeah. It's like, well, now your ribs are messed up, you know, not broken or anything, but definitely sore. And, you know, I don't like that mentality of don't tap to pressure, because, you know, I've tapped before, like having someone like a really hard cross face, or they're over my face on a rear naked choke. I feel like my jaw's going to break.
Yeah, me too.
You know? And I'm like, am I going to just tough it out and be a warrior and get my jaw broken? Like, or also like you feel like your teeth are going to break. I don't know if you felt that before. It feels awful. So, man, we got to protect ourselves at all times.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that goes back to like the old school mentality of, you know, suck it up, pussy, don't tap to that kind of thing. And I think that is dying that way.
Yeah, big time. And yeah, I do not like the old school mentality at all. Like I'm all about like, we should all just have a good time training. You know what I mean? It's like, we shouldn't try to be like warriors and stuff like that, because man, we're just doing jiu-jitsu. We're not fighting MMA and stuff like that. I think that when it comes to MMA, yeah, you definitely have to have more of a warrior mentality, and, you know, not the sake of like, you know, getting yourself hurt, because like, you know, I try to prioritize not getting hit in the head and not having like, you know, brawls and wars and stuff like that. But like, you know, you definitely need to be a little tougher than jiu-jitsu. I think jiu-jitsu, where most of us are just here for a good time.
Yeah, well, it's a little more vicious in nature, right? Because you're in jiu-jitsu, the chances of you getting hurt are a lot less than MMA, because you're either going to get an arm extended, which you can tap, or you're going to go unconscious. MMA, you can be knocked unconscious, you can broken bones. You know what I mean? I think it's a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more extreme.
Well, that's the thing, because MMA is so much more dangerous and the consequences are so much dire. It's like, you know, you need to be on the ball with like everything. You need to have everything on point. So like, you know, I was like coaching MMA while I was also fighting. You know, I had some fighters that were like, not always the hardest workers, you know, which kind of like drove me crazy, in the sense it's like, guys, you guys are going to go out and fight, and you're not taking training as serious as you should. Meanwhile, I am, and I'm getting the results that I want, but you guys aren't getting the results you want. Maybe you guys should self-reflect, because I don't want you guys to get hurt in the cage, but at the same time, it's your responsibility. And if you don't want to, you know, take responsibility for that, then you're going to think bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
So
talking about injuries and keeping your partner safe, I feel so bad. We talked about this last week that didn't go up, but I was training with somebody and I was doing an arm weave pass, and I think her leg got hooked on my hip, and I put pressure down, and her knee popped out of joint. Thank God she's a nurse. She popped it right back in, and she was on crutches the next day. And I hate when stuff like that happens. I feel horrible for it. She messaged me, said, don't worry, it's, you know, nobody's fault, but just freak accidents can happen sometimes.
I would consider that a true freak accident where neither partner did anything wrong, where I don't really consider that neck break so much a freak accident, because I think both people could have been safer. And, sometimes these things just happen. So, if you do a sport, you risk getting injured. If you don't do a sport, you also like risk, bad things happening to your body too. And for example, Nikki, before she did jiu-jitsu, she was working at Winners, which is like just like a clothing store.
It's like a JCPenney's if you're in the States.
Yeah, exactly. And she just kneeled down to pick something up, and as she was coming back up, she tore her meniscus.
Oh, right? Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy. And I think that just shows you sometimes just bad things happen, and your body is just, again, things can happen that are bad. So I think people sometimes worry too much about jiu-jitsu being unsafe. I don't think jiu-jitsu is an unsafe sport. I think it's pretty safe. It's relative to other sports. All sports carry risk of injury. But again, if you don't do a sport, that's also very bad for your body. If you're on the couch all day, if you're just sitting on the chair, your back's getting all messed up. It's just life. You use something, and that's what happens. And yeah, I feel 100% safe when I roll. I never feel like and I'm in danger. I never worry about it, because sometimes people worry, I got to work and I'm worried about jiu-jitsu getting hurt. Well, jiu-jitsu is my job. You know what I mean? I also can't get hurt, but I don't feel risk because I have the awareness. And I don't expect others to have the awareness so much, but it ties into their partner also keeping them safe, because they should be rolling with people that have the awareness,
Yeah, I'm not quite at that stage yet where I have full awareness of everything. Like when I roll a brand new guy, that's when I have gotten most injured with brand new people. I'd say within the first 2 weeks or month of them training, before they really get, not so, I know you're not supposed to say spazzy, but you know what I mean? Not so, I don't know, just using muscle and explosive movements, because that's all they know. They don't have any technique yet. That's when I always seem to get injured, is then.
It's because beginners lack the awareness to keep themselves safe and the awareness to keep other people safe. I think that just shows you right there that it's both people. It's so important that both people prioritize that. So yeah, I think that it's also another reason why I'm not a huge fan of beginner only classes, or just beginner classes in general, because it's just a bunch of beginners rolling with each other and they're going to hurt each other.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Henry Gracie was saying that it's the industry standard to have beginner classes, and that it makes it safer or whatever. And no, I don't think it does at all. And the way I like to have my classes, I don't like to have beginner and advanced. I like everyone together, because the beginners can go with the advanced people and they can stay safe that way, get advice. And, in my opinion, everything is just fundamentals in jiu-jitsu for the most part. 90% of jiu-jitsu is fundamentals. And then if you want to do the crazier stuff, yeah, maybe it's good to have an advanced class if you're doing worm guard and all these fancy lapel stuff, or fancy kind of leg lock stuff, you know? So yeah, I think but the majority of jiu-jitsu, it's important for beginners and advanced people. And what I do in my classes is often I'll show one thing, and then I'll move on to the other thing, and I'll give beginners that's what they're doing, and the advanced people are doing something else. So
yeah,
I think it is important to separate it a little bit, but I don't think they need to be completely separated either.
No, I agree with you 100%. And to tie back to what you said earlier about, yes, you can get injured in this sport, but it's much more dangerous to sit on your ass at home all day and watch TV. I can attest to that. I'd spent 2 years of my life in bed 18 to 20 hours a day, doing absolutely nothing. And when I was up, I was either just eating something quickly or watching TV, watching YouTube or something like that. And I was in the worst shape of my life, and I had more injuries. Well, not more injuries. I had more ailments with me then than I do now. And now that I train every day or 5 or 6 times a week, I feel way, way better. I just turned 48 and I don't feel 48, and I can keep up with the 25-year-olds. So it's got to be working. It's doing something good,
Yeah. And if you don't do sports, it's you might be bored. And then if you're bored, that might lead to things like drug addiction, or bad eating habits and stuff like that. And I heard this just recently, and I think it's really true, that everyone needs a third place. So you need to have your home, you need to have your workplace, but you need a third place, which is recreational.
Yeah.
And to not have that third place is really, I think, detrimental in people's lives. You need to feel like you belong to a community. And for me, it's a little different because my third place is also my workplace.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So I would like a third place from that. You know, once I'm done the theory course, I want to just enjoy my life more, do more leisurely stuff, because I've been working so hard on this, and just every hour of the day spent on it and thinking about it. You know, I've been having a hard time focusing when I'm rolling, because I'm just thinking about I'm going to put this clip here, and all this stuff. And like last night, it was so bad. I was the whole night. I was going through my head the whole time. I couldn't focus at all. But because I have so much muscle memory, I was still kicking ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You didn't seem out of sorts at all when you were rolling me.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I got you in 3 rear naked chokes.
3 rear naked chokes. And I thought maybe the third one you were going to put me out, but you didn't.
No, I would never do that. No, but I do think it's funny to joke around about that, and like be like, you know, if I get you the third time, I'm supposed to put you out, which is like an old school tradition, which I 100% do not support. But I do like joking around with people, and which kind of brings us into something I want to talk about too. It's like because people said I was an asshole for asking Kieren to roll at 2 a.m. in the morning, but you know, me and Kieren are just good buddies. We're like bros, you know, and we were just having a good time. I wasn't challenging him or anything like that. We're just like 2 competitive guys, and we were just not very tired. We were like, okay, and I thought this is gonna make a funny story, you know. So I asked him. He said yes, and we rolled. We had a great time. And just in general, you know, I always joke with my friends about like kicking their asses, but only when they're lower belts. You know what I mean? So like for example, like I would never joke about you know, beating up like Joey or Darren or Alex, anything like that. It would never even cross my mind. But like lower belts, like, yeah, I'm gonna joke about how easy it is to beat you up or whatever, you know what I mean? So like, you know, in the last podcast, Kieren's like, if it was like easy for you, it felt like it was easy for you to beat me up or whatever. I'm like, it was, you know, which I was just joking around, but yeah, some people thought I was an asshole for that, but I think some people just don't understand, like, I don't know, just I guess my personality and that, and just, you know, being tongue in cheek and joking around and, you know, but I think most people do. So it was all good.
The people that know you, people that know you're joking around, you're just messing around.
Yeah,
but exactly. I think you get the odd person on here that might listen and think, you know, another thing, but they don't know you very well. You know, I know you're joking.
Well, I think it's also maybe they don't have that dynamic with their friends, which is fine. What does that sound?
Get a little technical difficult. There, it's gone.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, oh yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
So I think maybe people just don't have that dynamic with their friends, but which is fine, because everyone has different ways of interacting with their friends, different like personalities and stuff like that. But yeah, like I just like joking around, like that kind of thing. I'm just a super competitive guy. Yeah. Like I'm a chill dude and relaxed, but I am very, very competitive, and you know, I'm like that. So
Kieren's a competitive guy too.
Oh, extremely.
I mean, we had a good roll. We both had some fun. You know, we're not going to kiss and tell or anything, but you know, it was a good roll. And yeah, he's very explosive. He's a go-getter for sure.
Yeah. He's like he's a very good blue belt, and I think one reason is because he is so competitive, which is very similar to me. I was a very good blue belt too, and you know, because I was so competitive, you know, and like I would always want to like you know, go with the harder guys, go with the upper belts, almost like challenge them, and yeah, like I wanted to, because I'm competitive. So
what point in your jiu-jitsu journey did you start tapping upper belts, like purple, brown, and black? Were you white belt? Were you blue belt?
So yeah, I just like to be honest always. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or anything, but like, man, even when I was like a later stage of white belts, I was like doing very well against purple belts, and like not like, you know, super good purple belts, but like average purple belts. Yeah. And then when I was a blue belt, again, like mid to late stage, I started doing good against many black belts. So like, you know, they weren't world-class black belts, but you know, they were decent black belts. And you know, Kieren's kind of in the same situation where I've seen him do well against upper belts. And you know, just reality is, it's just, belts don't matter a ton in the sense of, you know, really showcasing skill, because, you know, there's like, what's the difference between a good blue belt and like a crappy brown belt, or even a crappy black belt, to be honest, you know, or like what's the difference between a good blue belt and an average purple belt? There's just not. And it's just like, I realized that really early on. It's like, these guys aren't magic. They don't have any magic skills because they're higher belts. It's like, I'm going to still try to kick their ass either way. And sometimes people try to like avoid me because, yeah, like I was giving them like the tough rolls. I was, they don't want to get beat up by a lower belt. But yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that because, I feel a little bad in hindsight because I don't want to make people feel bad. But at the same time, like, we're doing a sport that's competitive, right? We're trying to beat each other. And like, this is more so like going to other gyms. So like whenever I go to another gym and like a lower belt wants to roll with me and I can tell like they want to challenge me in a way, like they want to kind of see how they stack up and, they're going hard. Like I always give them that opportunity. It doesn't matter how tired I am or like if I'm just not feeling like rolling. It's like, no, like I was like you, so I want to give you that too, so it's just fair. Support for Talk-Jitsu is brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code JTJ at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 14 million balls. So what's your experience been with Manscaped?
Well, I've used probably a half a dozen different name brand products before, and they're terrible. I've cut myself every time, and these are very expensive, very well-named brand products. And with Manscaped, I've never cut myself.
Exactly. And you know what I like the most about the Manscaped razor is it has a flashlight on it. And you think
that's the best.
It's amazing. You think that, it's just this like, feature, whatever, but actually it's kind of like, when you experience a light on your razor, it makes you wonder why no other ones have that too, because this is a game changer. You can just see everything so much easier, even if you don't have the perfect lighting. So that was my favorite aspect of it. I was actually shocked how much better it made too, because I was, doing my neckline and everything. I was like, I can actually see where the line should be, right? Because there's a light. It's so simple and so smart. So I really like that from Manscaped.
100%. I thought, is this a gimmick? And then I tried it. I was like, no, this is the way. This is the only razor I've ever had that has a light on it, and it really lights the way to shaving your balls.
It does. It makes all the difference. I think a lot of other brands are maybe more towards like your hair or just your beard or something, right? But this is like the full package. So guys, JTJ at checkout, let's go.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, if it's fair, like, because when people come in from other gyms, and they usually come in 2 or 3 from the same gym or whatnot, right? And I always feel that I'm way more competitive than, I feel almost like, this is going to sound stupid, almost like I'm defending the school. You know what I mean? And I would never go super hard. I would never crank anything or hurt anybody, but I am way more on point when I roll people from other gyms, and I do a lot better than, because I think sometimes I'm just so used to the guys' games in here and they're so used to me, it's hard to get anything going. But people from other gyms, they're trying hard too. They want to beat the guys that are on the podcast or the guy that's on YouTube, right? Yeah. So they're going hard as shit on me too. So we have some really tough, good rolls from other schools lately. I have.
Well, 100%. And there's something wrong with that. I think we need to a little bit get it out of our heads that like jiu-jitsu is not about like beating the other person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just training. Like, yeah, we're training. It's not the same as a tournament, but at the same time, we are trying to beat each other. If you belong to a really recreational school and you don't really care or whatever, that's fine with you. But I think the majority of people, they want to win when they're, and you can win a roll. Like, again, people don't want to like admit that almost, but 100% you can. It's like, I've made this comparison before. It's like, it's like soccer practice. Like, yeah, you're doing a soccer practice. Say you do like a scrimmage game, like you play whatever. It's like, you're still trying to win. You're not just gonna let the person beat you, but it's not the same as like as a competition where things are like a little different, right? So, yeah, or maybe it's like, or you can make the same comparison. It's like recreational league. It's like, yeah, it's recreational, but we still want to win, So
yeah, it's just, you don't scream, yeah, I got you at the end, tapping somebody at jiu-jitsu. That's a little dickish, right? So
yeah, and you don't put like every essence of like your, your being into the role to like make sure you 100% win. You're putting 100% effort in. It's like, no. You should always use the minimal effective dose to get the job done. And like, that's my mentality when I roll. It's like, I want to beat everyone, but I want to use the minimum effective dose of strength and effort to be able to get the job done. So
the path of least resistance, right?
Yeah, the path of least resistance. Exactly. I think that's the ultimate flex, is when it's like, this person's not even trying and they're kicking my ass.
Yeah. When you're rolling with somebody and you can feel their heart rate and it's pounding and yours is just barely moving. That's a good feeling.
It's the best feeling. And, again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I want to win in every competitive thing we do. And I don't think we need to like pretend like things aren't true when they are, I don't know, like, there's some like schools of thought, like keep it playful and, like Henry Gracie is like that. And, but you can 100% be safe and have a good time rolling, but still, roll hard. And, I like rolling hard.
I think we managed to do that here really well.
Yeah,
we all roll pretty hard, but it's not like aggressively trying to kill the guy.
Yeah, we have a great balance. Like 100%, everyone here is trying to win the roll.
Yeah.
But like, again, we're not doing it at all costs where we start hurting each other or anything like that. And that's the way it should be for the way I like jiu-jitsu. But I think it's important that not everyone, to state that it's okay if people don't have that mentality. Like it's 100% okay if you're like not a competitive dude or girl and you don't really care so much about winning the role. You just want to have fun, get a good workout. That's fine, but that's not what I like for myself. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with saying that.
Yeah, there's many times when I'm at the gym, and if I'm just did a hard roll with you or I did a hard roll with an upper belt, and the next guy looks at me and he can see that I'm drained. He's like, dad roll? Yeah, dad roll. We just kind of flow around and just kind of mess around, and there's no competitive nature to it whatsoever. But I mean, we're still exercising, having fun, and it's usually we just mess around a bit. Just nice hard flow roll.
Yeah, that's how I roll when I'm like just being lazy and just don't have any energy. I'll just roll with someone and be like kind of letting them work and do whatever, and just kind of doing the minimum just to not get my ass kicked. Yeah. But if they pass my guard, it's no big deal. But like I still don't want to get submitted or anything. But I was kind of doing that today too. Like I just wasn't having like I just didn't have a lot of energy to roll. What I actually did was before the roll, I did a workout on the Airdyne bike.
Yep.
So I was taking Kieren's advice. He's got a great YouTube video about how to get your cardio better for jiu-jitsu.
I saw that. It's good. Yeah.
And one of his workouts is it's a Tabata, which is like 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 4 minutes total. And then you can do 4 rounds of that. So I did it on the Airdyne bike and I couldn't do 4 rounds. Like, man, and like, my cardio is not there. When you like jiu-jitsu cardio is a little different because like you can, if you're going against people that are like generally less skilled than you don't need to work that hard or too hard. But like when you're on the Airdyne bike and your skill of jiu-jitsu doesn't matter at all, it's pretty eye-opening. It's like, I got to get my cardio up. I got to do more of these.
Well, in jiu-jitsu, when you're, at a certain level, you can find places where you can chill and recover for a few minutes where they're still struggling and they're still, wasting energy, or you can make them waste energy, right? While you're recovering. I do that all the time. I do use lockdown sometimes, and I'll just hold on to them until I catch my breath. If it's a bigger guy or I need a break, and then I'll release it and transition to something else. I just need to catch my breath.
Well, that's the thing too, is like the minimum effective dose for like, most beginners is still pretty high, you know what I mean? To like get the job done, they still got to work pretty hard. But like the reason why I want to get my cardio up too is like, I want to be in good shape for the Trinidad Tobago camp, which I'm like in decent shape now, but there's so many people I'm going to get to roll with, and I want to roll with everyone, and I don't want to get tired at all. Right. So, and I just want to have like a nice physique when I go, right? Because like I'm like a little higher body fat than I want to be right now. Like not too bad, but like I got like a month until the Trinidad camp, and I just want to be like maybe lose like 5 pounds or so, because I was at like 180 for a while, but now I'm kind of back to 185. So like I just want to be back to 180. That's like my ideal like weight.
So how many people are signed up for that?
Man, 40 people. There's 40 people, including the instructors.
How many influencers?
There's Jedi, there's Tyler Spangler, there's Kieren's coming, there's me, there's a guy named Carsaw, who's a blue belt, he's got a great channel, and then there's another guy, he's a white belt, his name's Zach McCollum, I think. I'm not as familiar with him. I've seen some of his videos, they're pretty good, but I can't wait to roll with everyone, and just all the participants too. I think we're gonna have such a great time because Trinidad Tobago seems like I was looking at like TikToks, and like I obviously did research before booking it, but like I started looking at more TikToks and YouTube videos of it. and it just looks like paradise. It looks like it's gonna be so much fun. The food looks like it's gonna be really good, and yeah, I just need a vacation really bad too.
Yeah, I'm just dreading you coming back and saying, okay, guys, I'm moving Limitless to Trinidad Tobago.
Yeah, well, that is always on my mind, and which it sucks for everyone here, but like I always think about wanting to like moving to like a more warm location because I really like summer and I really don't like winter. Like winter depression in Canada is definitely a real thing.
100%.
Even if you take vitamin D, even if you go to the tanning salon, which I do, and because it's just depressing, you know, it's just like you're just stuck inside for like months and it's just cold and just gloomy. Like it gets dark at like 4 p.m. You know what I mean?
But thankfully, it's getting warmer out now. Finally, we can wear shorts.
Yeah, it's getting so warm. It's so nice because like I got my e-bike and I've been riding that a lot and I've just been loving it so much. I rode it a little bit in the winter and it wasn't nearly as fun.
No, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty freaking cold. But now that it's like spring and we're having an abnormally warm April.
Yeah.
It's April, right? Yeah, it's April. And like it's been super warm. Next week it's going to be a little colder, but it's been like 20 degrees Celsius like on average like this whole week. So I've been driving that thing around. I've been like passing cars and whatnot on my bicycle. It's really funny. But you know what I learned though is that like I would never get a motorcycle. I would never get a motorcycle after driving this thing because I really realized how shitty of drivers there are out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like I rode on the main roads a little bit just to like see how it is. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to stick to the back roads because yeah, it's just like people just pull out of nowhere. You just like, do you not see me? Like, you think you're like, why are you cutting me off? Like I'm on a bicycle.
Well, yeah. The one day I saw you come in, you're sweating and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then I saw you drag your bike in. I'm like, oh my God, he rode his bike from home.
Yeah, exactly. I ride it every day now. Every day of the week I've ridden it. So I've been really enjoying it. It's just like, it's like getting the benefit of a motorcycle, but without like, you know, the danger of it as much, just because, you know, you can go in the back roads easier. You can like take like trails, take shortcuts. You can go drive in the grass. So like my route to the gym and back is pretty safe, which is like priority for me because, you know, people call, you know, motorcyclists like organ donors because, you know, because they get hurt a lot, which obviously like if you ride a motorcycle, all the power to you. But I think that it's definitely, obviously it's a very risky thing to do.
Oh yeah. You don't have a box of steel around you to save you like a car. Yeah.
And you can just not trust other people. It's just like jiu-jitsu, right? It takes you being safe. It takes them being safe. But like, you cannot count on other drivers to be safe. They're like, you know, they're like brand new white belts just to try to, even though they've been driving a long time, it's like, I just don't understand how they can't see me sometimes, you know? Like I see them clearly, I'm watching them and they pull out in front of me. I'm like braking really hard. Actually, what happened today was, a freaking rabbit I almost ran over a rabbit, which I think if I would have hit it, I would have been hurt.
Yeah, you might have took a spill.
It just ran onto the road. I'm like, I forget what I said. I'm like, fucking idiot. I said, I was pissed. Yeah. But because I didn't want to get hurt, but yeah, luckily I avoided it. Actually, Nikki hit a squirrel or a beaver. I'm not sure what it was. It just ran right onto the road out of nowhere. No time for her to stop. This was in our SUV and she felt really bad, but man, what's with these like suicidal animals?
Dude, I've hit so many things in my truck. I lost count. One night I hit 4 animals in my truck driving to work. It's hazard of the road. What can you do? Yeah. But what I was going to ask you earlier is, you said you popped your knee recently. Yeah. Is it back to normal now or getting there? Because I popped mine last night and it's not feeling too great.
Yeah, it's getting there. Like, so what happened was I was sparring Muay Thai and this really tall dude, he's like 6'6" or 6'7". He's like one of the tallest people I've ever seen in my life. And he had me in the Muay Thai clinch, which is kind of similar to like the wrestling clinch where you have like a collar tie and whatnot. And, you know, he tried to turn me to like sweep me or knee me. And, you know, I'm competitive. I'm like, I'm not letting you do that. I'm not letting big brother me. But no, I should have because I resisted it. So my body turned, but my foot stayed planted on the mat. And yeah, it twisted my knee pretty good. Like I didn't tear anything, thank God. I think it just kind of popped out of place a little bit, but yeah, it's still a little bit swollen. I can feel like, because the swelling moves, like kind of depending on where it is in the recovery stage.
Yeah.
So like I can often feel it in the back of my knee, even though that's not where the injury is. But yeah, it sucks that happened to you last night, but I feel like it's almost 100% now. It took a while. Well, it took like 3 weeks. Now it's like pretty much 100%.
Yeah, my foot was just planted, and I went to turn. We started standing up. Me and Melody were rolling. We started standing up. I went to turn. My foot was planted, and I felt a pop, and I just immediately sat down. And, you know, I still rolled after that. I just took 30 seconds off to make sure my kneecap was still in the right place. And today, yeah, I can feel it today, but I'm going to roll tonight because I'm stupid. So, you know.
Yeah, well, as long as nothing's like torn, it's like, it shouldn't be too bad. You know, I kept sparring, which was stupid for sure. And then I rolled a little bit too. And then like the next day I'm like limping, and, you know, that's stupid of me for sure. Sometimes, you know, it's hard to follow your own advice because, you know, I would definitely tell people, like, you know, do not keep rolling, make sure that you're okay, you're good to go. But like, it's also like, I've been around the block, so like I know how bad something is or isn't. And yeah, actually, I wanted to take a viewer question because I think it ties into injuries, and I think it's pretty interesting. So let's hear this from Ross.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's Ross here from Devon in England. Thank you for your podcast. I really appreciate it. I love the rolling videos beforehand. It's the way my mind works. I can just, when you explain it as you're doing it, just sinks in rather than kind of like long-winded techniques, etc. But anyway, on to my point. I came to BJJ at 38. I had some injuries, poor flexibility. And I think there's a lot of people kind of around the 40 age joining BJJ. So I think this might be more relevant because of that. I was around 100 kilograms. I still am. I'm kind of a muscular build. So based on my last 5 years of experience in BJJ, I believe it would be optimal for people like myself to be assessed by a coach to limit certain guards and positions that would not be suitable for their body type or injuries. And also guide the person to guards, submissions, positions that would also suit their body type. I think this could save a lot of time and also potential injuries. What are your thoughts? Thanks very much.
So he's about 220 pounds.
Yeah, so pretty big dude for sure. Yeah. So before I give my opinion, let's hear your opinion, Mike.
Honestly, I have no idea what he was talking about.
Okay, so yeah, he's saying like, you know, you can limit your chances of injury if you prioritize, if you don't do certain guards and certain positions, like you avoid them, right? But I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that there's a lot of positions and techniques and whatnot in jiu-jitsu that are going to be more dangerous for specific body types. You know, if you're already injured, or like you don't, or if you are older or whatever, like there's things to avoid in the sense that like you don't want to have like scrambles and you don't want a lot of open space. But like every guard you do and every position you do, you should be trying to limit that anyways, right? So like this, like the more you can be in like half guard, the better, just in the sense that like you're closer. But at the same time, you can't just like get half guard because you want it. You know what I mean? So like, I think that's a bit of a, I don't know, misconception in jiu-jitsu, because reality is you often have to take what you can get. So like, yeah, half guard, you're closer, there's less risk of scramble and stuff like that. But at the same time, what if the person doesn't go into your half guard? Yeah. You know what I mean? You need to have an open guard, and you need to be able to transition to different guards. And I don't think any are inherently more dangerous than others. So for example, we'll use gi for example. So like, you know, if you're not in half guard and they're an open guard, well, you could be in like collar and sleeve, you could be in lasso, reverse De La Hiva, you can be an X guard, single leg X. And I don't think that any of them are inherently more dangerous than the other one.
Well, that's why I didn't understand the question, because I don't find any guards really dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there can be aspects of positions and guards and submissions that can be dangerous. And I think it's important that the instructor points out what those dangers are. And that's really what I do when I'm teaching. It's like, I'm teaching them, like, you know, I'm showing the move. And then if there's something that could be dangerous, I'll point that out. So for example, let's say we're doing like dog fight or something, and I'll be like, you got to make sure that their leg isn't, off to the side, because if
hurt their knee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. And another example would be like, when you show a chair sit back take, it's the same thing. You don't want your leg flared out. You want it tucked in. So that's what I think instructors should always do. They should always be showing the potential dangers of a movement, but I also don't think that there's like the positions and stuff that you inherently want to avoid. I mean, like, just say like, okay, you have short legs, maybe forcing a triangle could be bad, right? But like, that should be taught as you're taught a triangle. It should be like, don't pull your leg at all costs and end up breaking your leg or something. But
that doesn't have anything to do with the guard, right? Like, he's in closed guard. You chose to do a submission, which is a triangle. He was specifically talking about guards. That's why I didn't understand it.
Too, though.
Did he say?
Submissions
Oh, geez. Maybe I couldn't hear because of the accent. But
yeah, that's a pretty cool accent too. I feel like.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by Minimal Snacks. Let's try it out.
Yeah.
So Minimal Snacks, it's like a beef jerky company basically, and it's just a good source of protein. And I know you've tried it already, and so have I.
It's great. It's good for a keto diet if you're on a low carb diet as well. It's very moist. It's not like your regular beef jerky where it takes you 6 years to chew through it. And anybody that listens to this podcast know that most of my teeth are fake. It's hard to even chew any meat. This is great.
Yeah, that's the best part for sure. It's actually moist. It's actually easy to chew because, like you said, some beef jerky is just like a jaw workout.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't want to work on my jaw when I'm eating beef jerky. How would you describe the taste?
Oh, man. A little bit sweet, salty. It's nice. It's not too heavy salt. It's not too sweet. It's perfect. I'm not just saying this because they sponsor us. Like, I would buy this and eat it every day. I love this. I ate 3 packages the other day.
And there's only very few ingredients. It's just beef, red wine vinegar, shiitake extract, and salt. So the less ingredients, the better. Especially when there's no chemicals involved.
So go to minimalsnacks.com and enter Talk-Jitsu 20 to get your discount on some of the best stuff I've ever had.
No, it's funny because this is kind of off topic, but I was talking to Kieren about this. I feel like we don't have the accent and they do. And Kieren kind of agreed. He's like, yeah, it seems like, Americans or Canadians, like they're the ones without the accents, and, maybe we just feel like that because this is the way we talk or whatever.
We know. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe it's because like a lot of the media is from the US, but I feel like we have such a boring way of speaking just because it's just no accent.
Especially Canadians, we have like a weird twang to our accent. It's odd. But yeah, sometimes when Kieren was talking to me, I'd be like, can you say that again? I couldn't make out some of the things he was saying, the slang that were Aussie slang. I couldn't make it out and stuff.
One funny thing he says is instead of guard, he says God.
God.
Yeah. Like there's an R in it, or like, water. We say water.
Water.
And he's like, yeah, I can't even pronounce it like him. And I tried using like my best Australian accent with him. Yeah, there you go. That's better. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, I don't think that there's a whole lot you want to necessarily avoid. Maybe like passing. You definitely, if you the sooner you get chest to chest, the better. And actually, I want to talk about this too. Like the whole goal of passing is not just to get past the legs. The goal is to get chest to chest, right? Because you think, okay, the dominant positions in jiu-jitsu, side control, mount, or let's use north-south, your chest to chest. And when you have the back, your chest to back. So what we say instead is chest to torso, because that's what you want to do, get your chest on their torso. Yeah. So, the closer you are to the torso when you're passing, the better, because then you're closer to your objective. But the problem is that people that know how to manage the distance in their guard are not going to let you get close to their torso. Yeah. So like, it's the same thing. You can only ever take what you can get. So like, definitely to limit your chances of injury, you want to be as close to them as possible. The more space, the more danger there is. So like, I wouldn't do like cartwheel passes and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, but I don't do those anyways, and they're not super effective, or anything that can result in a scramble. So maybe there is some merit to the question, because it kind of ties into something else, which is like, when you pass around the guard, or even just some passes in general, like a Toriano pass, like, the issue with it is you go from controlling the legs, and then you need to transition to controlling the upper body. So that can result in scrambles, right? So whereas if you take control of the upper body before you pass the legs, for example, a body lock or chest to chest half guard passing, well, then when you do pass the legs, you already have upper body control. So that can be a way safer, not just for, in the sense that you can secure the pass, but it can also be safer just for your own body, because the less space there is, the less opportunity for injuries there is.
Yeah, because if I just grab a Toriando pass and throw your legs out of the way and just dive down on top of you, that's just a recipe for an injury, right? But like you said, if you have torso to torso connection, you negate that.
Exactly. Like, ideally you want to move, you don't want to do big movements. You don't want to move much, which actually ties into the next viewer question, because I thought this is kind of interesting. These really tie in together. So let's listen to this one too.
Hey, Jordan and company. My name is Gabriel. I'm a blue belt. And I just had a question about some advice that I have gotten on the mats in jiu-jitsu, and that I've heard given to a lot of other people as well, mainly white and blue belts. But that advice is move more movement. And I think I understand what people mean by that, but at the same time, it's kind of vague. So I was wondering what you think, if you all could talk about what you think people mean when they give the advice to move more. Thank you very much.
It's funny because you've given me this exact advice. You said, be more dynamic.
Yeah. It's almost like, I don't know, if someone's like not being dynamic enough, they should be moving more. But at the same time, move more as a general statement isn't necessarily the best advice either, right? Because it's almost like the less you move, the better. But at the same time, as long as you're getting the job done, right? If you're being too slow and not getting anything done, well, that's an issue too. So
move with purpose.
Yeah, move with purpose. Like, not just move more. It's like, but don't just stay in bad positions or stay in a position and not do anything, right?
Yeah.
So like, for example, I think that, I think that can be a dangerous kind of statement to follow too, because you want to limit your movement. You want to take dominant grips where they can't move, right? So what a scramble is, like, okay, first off, scrambling is like the most dangerous part of jiu-jitsu because it is so fast and it's more, it's just like less secure, right?
Yeah.
And a scramble is
it's chaotic.
Yeah, it's chaotic. Yeah. And it's a search for dominant grips. And what dominant grips do is they control your opponent. So what basically the most important dominant grips is head control. So like a crossface, an underhook is a dominant grip, and then control the hips is a dominant grip, because what you want to do is control the torso. So, sorry, I just burped. So yeah, if you control these areas, you don't need to scramble because you have what you need. And then, like if you control the person, you don't need to like move fast. You can just go slow. But like, yeah, I can see how it could be useful advice if you're not moving quite enough, but at the same time, I don't think that is very great. It's very good advice as a general statement.
Yeah, I got what you meant when you said be more dynamic, because I was just staying in turtle and I was just not moving, doing anything no matter what.
You're too stiff.
I was too stiff. And since you told me that, I've been working on it a lot more, and I'm not as stiff, and I don't use strength as much, and I try to flow a bit more. So I get his coach probably saying that to him. I've been there.
Yeah. I mean, being too stiff can cause a lot of problems in the sense that like, you're not getting as much done in your role. You can also frustrate the other person. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like if you're frustrating the other person, maybe they're going to be a little more reckless with you, which doesn't make it right. But like, it's just reality of the situation. So for example, in like Muay Thai, like sparring, what's really annoying is when people just back up the whole time and they're just running from you. And it shouldn't make me want to hit them harder, but it does make me want to hit them harder. And I don't hit them hard because I'm controlled. I'm nice, but like, man, I'm just thinking I want to get you so good because you keep running away from me. And it's like, if you just stay in front of me, I'm not going to hurt you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's the same thing with being stiff. It's like, you're just kind of slowing down the roll, making it kind of boring. And, maybe that's what this guy's happening to him. That's why people are telling him to move. But yeah, for sure, like don't just go crazy with movement either.
It's the same thing when people don't engage. That there's nothing that drives me nuts more than that in jiu-jitsu, when I'm not diving on stuff, but I'm always the aggressor, always trying to make something happen. They're just backing up. Are we going to roll or are we going to dance? Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? That shit drives me crazy.
There's one guy at our gym that does that.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And we're not naming names, but yeah, it's like he just backs up the whole time. It's like, bro, just come over here. Yeah. So like,
I dive with my legs to try to pull him into half guard every time, him or her into half guard every time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll do the same thing. It's like when people are like that, when they're not engaging, I'll start having to give them something like more.
Yes,
you know
yes.
what I mean?
I'll give so they come in. Here's my arm, so you will come in and engage. Yes,
exactly. Like that's like a really frustrating way of rolling. And we talked about it in previous podcasts, like people being like ultra defensive, and people and how it can be annoying. And some people were like, no, it's just part of jiu-jitsu. You got to deal with it. If you can't get past their defense, you got to work on your technique. But it's like, no, like you can legit like do anti-jiu-jitsu and just not engage and just like not do anything, be super ultra defensive. And like defense is good, knowing when to disengage is good, because you do need to disengage at times. You need to engage. It's like a balance between the two. But if you just do one, I mean, it's just as annoying as someone like just being crazy with their engagement, just doing everything they can, going nuts. So, yeah.
So let's say that as somebody that people aren't engaging, would you say it's up to, say it's a blue belt rolling a purple belt? Is it up to the purple belt to make things happen because they are more experienced? They're technically should be better, Yeah,
I don't think it matters, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think it matters at all. I think if someone like, I just think people shouldn't roll like that.
Yeah,
I know. I don't like saying, oh, don't roll like this or don't roll like that. But like, when it comes to people that just won't engage at all, you're just pissing people off, because we're not even doing jiu-jitsu at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're dancing.
Yeah, we're just dancing. We're like, I'm trying to do jiu-jitsu with you, and it's like you're trying not to do jiu-jitsu with me.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
But sometimes you said anti-jiu-jitsu can be good. Like your role with Jedi, you said that he used it very well.
Yeah, he did, in the sense that I was trying to tie up with him and he didn't want to accept the grips that I was getting. So he'd back up and try to re-engage, but at least he was re-engaging back. Right.
Yeah.
But like some people, they just disengage the whole time. And it's funny. I always talk about comments that piss me off. And yeah, because it's natural. It's, things can piss you off. Right. Yeah. So because this one guy was like, oh, anti-jiu-jitsu, like that's bullshit. No such thing as anti-jiu-jitsu or whatever. Oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, there is. And it's not a big deal to like label that, and it's not always a bad thing. It can be if it's excessive, but at the same time, anti-jiu-jitsu can be a great tool. So, for example, if you're like in a bad position, like on the bottom, you can just work to stand up, or if you almost get in a bad position, just stand up. And that's actually a great tactic, which like Derek Lewis did in the UFC, who's a heavyweight. And, you can just stand up and then take them down and then just start on your own terms. And when I was in my my match with Cesar, who was like way bigger than me, I had him in his back and I tried to mount him. And as I did, he took an underhook, and if I would have stayed on the ground, I would have got smashed. So like, I used anti-jiu-jitsu. Why am I going to be on the ground using jiu-jitsu with you? Instead, I got to my knees and I got to my feet, and I consider that 100% anti-jiu-jitsu. And it was strategic. And then what I did was I knee barred him after, and I went back to using jiu-jitsu. But like, you can't really use jiu-jitsu so much in a standing position. Like, yeah, you can, like in the sense of like takedowns, but it's kind of more wrestling. But like jiu-jitsu itself is much harder when the person's standing, right? So I consider that anti-jiu-jitsu.
Would that be, is anti-jiu-jitsu wrestling basically? Or can it be wrestling? You were saying it can be wrestling because when you stood up, you wrestled up, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, wrestlers are the best at using anti-jiu-jitsu because the whole point of their sport is don't get put on their back. Yep. So what they do is if they get taken down, their immediate reaction is to get to their knees and then to get to their feet, right? They don't need to engage on the ground with the dude. So, man, wrestlers and Sambo guys are like that too. Judokas, because you only have so much time to work on the ground. And again, because you don't want to be pinned on your back, the objective is to stand up, right? Which is a great tool, especially in MMA. So like, if you're like a striker, especially, I wouldn't spend all my time learning jiu-jitsu. I would spend the majority of my time learning anti-jiu-jitsu.
Learning how to defend takedowns?
Yeah, learning how to defend takedowns. And if you do get taken down, just standing up, just working everything you can to stand up, because as a grappler, as a grappling MMA fighter myself, the most frustrating people to spar with are those that I take them down and they won't just stay the fuck down. You know what I mean? They just get back up and God damn it, now I got to take them down again. So like over time, I've gotten better at, keeping them down and getting them back down and stuff like that. But I really noticed it's like, this is really frustrating and hard for me to deal with. And, and why is that? It's because it's effective. It's a very good tool to use. So yeah, it's funny when I see, like, I can see it so clearly when I watch the UFC or MMA, like who's good at anti-jiu-jitsu and who's not, because you see some fighters, they get taken down and they just accept being down on the ground. And it's like, that's perfect for the guy that took you down. But then there's people that are they just won't stay down. And it's so frustrating for the grappler, tiring them out, and they're losing confidence. So I'm a big fan of anti-jiu-jitsu as a tool.
Well, a great example of that is Jose Aldo. You take him down and he'd spring up like a cat, but he had like world-class jiu-jitsu. He's won the Mundials, correct? I believe so.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think he has a brown belt, I'm pretty sure. But it's because even if you have good jiu-jitsu, you don't want to be on the bottom. You don't want to have your back on the mat. So if you get taken down, do the wrestling mentality, the Sambo mentality. Get to your knees, stand up. Right? Why do you don't have to play in your guard. You don't have to do jiu-jitsu. Like, use jiu-jitsu and MMA when you're on top. Don't use you don't need to use it on the bottom. And another example would be like, you could, if you have your feet in front of the person, you can kick off and stand up. That's anti-jiu-jitsu, right? You're not pulling them into your guard. Instead, you're being defensive, pushing them away, because in your guard, or just in general, in your guard, like, you can either pull them closer to you to attack them, or you can push them further away to defend, right? And defending that is going to be, and then standing up is going to be way easier and safer than taking bottom position, having to risk getting punched, all this stuff. Like, man, Kieren really noticed in our MMA match how much like jiu-jitsu changes when you get punched. And I told him that exact thing. I told him, like, you'll see very clearly how, like, you do not want to be in the bottom in MMA. And you can see it also in the video. Like, he just looks kind of lost, which obviously it's his first time sparring MMA. So I don't mean that like negatively, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's obvious. And so, like, yeah, I think if you watch that match and also understand that Kieren is a very good blue belt, you'll see that jiu-jitsu isn't the best for self-defense, and sometimes that pisses people off. But, like, yeah, it's great if you're on top. But if you're on the bottom, it's better to not have it. But at the same time, yeah, he's fighting like a trained fighter. Someone's been, doing MMA for a long time. But, like, you don't know when you're fighting someone on the streets, if they train or whatnot. You just have to hope that they don't.
Would you say that the best, if you had to pick one for self-defense, would be wrestling and boxing? If you could combine wrestling and boxing, or just train MMA? If you want to learn self-defense, don't go like, you see these, I think Gracie Jiu-Jitsu has their own system and stuff like that, which is, if you really look at it, fucking garbage. I don't care what anybody says. I've looked at it. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, I don't think people should even debate what's the best martial art for self-defense. You should just train MMA. Like, MMA is fighting,
Yes.
It's the closest thing you can get to it. Well, I mean, if I were to pick just one, I'd pick wrestling for sure, because you can dictate, where the match is going to take place. And realistically, when you take someone down, they're going to get hurt most likely, in a street fight situation. Like, you do a double leg, or you do like a hip throw, or you like a suplex. But the issue with that is you might kill them by accident. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I mean, you do neutralize the threat. And in some fights, I mean, if it's like a fight where it's like they're trying to kill you,
that might life and death.
Yeah. I mean, that might be a very good thing. Right. So, but you don't want to be like, oh, this guy, like, he like spilt his drink on me, or he hit my shoulder or whatever. Now I'm going to go outside and I'm going to suplex him and kill him. You know what I mean?
No, I knew a guy who did that. He was a bouncer at a bar. He pushed a guy out of the bar. The guy hit his head, died, and he spent the next, 5 years in house arrest and 3 years in jail before that. So it can happen that quick.
And then we preach all the time, don't get in fights, and you still see these people commenting, like whatever. Yeah. Like, come on, guys, don't get in fights.
No, stay out of fights.
I know all our listeners know that. Yeah. It's like it's like YouTube Shorts. You get like just the randos that like just have crazy opinions, and for example, like I've been posting way more YouTube shorts and TikToks and Instagram reels, and it's just crazy. Like, it blows my mind, the things people say. Like, I had to argue with people telling them that like they were trying to say stacking doesn't work against a triangle. Like, it doesn't work as a defense. Like, guys, like, stacking is a fundamental way of dealing with a triangle.
Definitely works. If you'd like to keep your neck working properly. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't believe they said that. I couldn't believe I had to argue with them about that. It's like, and what's really funny is that the one guy that said it, he had a YouTube channel teaching jiu-jitsu. He's a purple belt. And he was like, he's like, you know, usually your content's good, but like this is not, you know, like, I don't know. He said like, stacking does not work against people that know how to finish triangles or whatever. It's like, is it like a guaranteed defense? No, but is it a great, you know, tool to use? Yes. Yeah. Because like, realistically, you can only really go forward or you can go back, right? So going back would be posturing, which is great, you know, great way to deal with it too. Time and a place for both. And if you can't posture, yeah, you can go forward with a stack. And, you know, we're talking about defense, not escape specifically, but even all these escapes you look at, they're all just different ways of stacking and posturing. So like, for example, if you think about the one where you throw your legs over, like how Chael Sonnen tried to do to Anderson Silva, yeah, that's a form of posturing because he's trying to get himself out of the triangle that way, right?
I use that sometimes.
Yeah, it can work. It definitely can work. I don't think it's not my favorite escape, but like at a time and a place, it sometimes is the best available escape, 100%, right?
Well, when does it go from stacking to overstacking? You know what I mean? Like, just to play devil's advocate.
Yeah, it goes when you start putting pressure on the neck itself. So like a regular stack, you should just be putting pressure basically like on their back, like basically on their back. If their head starts to bend, like their chin to their chest, and they start bending the neck that way, that's overstacking. Yeah. You know, it's funny too. Again, people are telling me, oh, you know, overstacking's fine. The people got to take care of themselves. But then this guy gets paralyzed from like, you know, a neck movement like that, which is basically an overstack. It was just like a quick overstack. And yeah, it's like, well, you guys are wrong. Yeah. You know, so.
And I'm not shitting on Gracie's in general for that comment I made earlier. Any like jiu-jitsu self-defense for the streets, I think is bullshit. And that might be a hot take and might not. But to me, it's not, I don't think it's going to work. Train MMA if you want to learn how to actually fight.
Yeah, I agree. Like, sometimes people think like there's such a difference between sport jiu-jitsu and self-defense jiu-jitsu in the sense that like, you know, you can't use sport jiu-jitsu, but like I think if someone knows how to you know, move someone's body and control someone's body, it doesn't really matter what they do. Like I think that like they're going to figure out really quick, like, you know, you don't want to do things that are going to leave yourself vulnerable to getting hit. Like I don't think you're going to be doing like worm guard in a street fight.
You might not be berimbolo, you know, doing that or anything. You know, you stick to the basics. You're going to do what you need to do.
I don't even think it would cross someone's mind to start doing like a berimbolo in a street fight. I think they would just do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with you 100%.
Exactly. So yeah,
if you're good at jiu-jitsu, you're good at jiu-jitsu. It's going to help you. But I think overall MMA is the one to learn.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, people got to just train MMA for sure. Let's take one more question. I haven't listened to this one, so let's.
Got a surprise question.
Yeah. Oh, I hate when this happens.
Oh, and I apologize to Ross. I didn't fully understand your question when you first said it, sir.
No worries.
What are you most looking forward to in Tobago?
I think that's Tyler Spangler, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it sounded like him. It's from the Guillotine King himself, so.
Yeah, I'm most looking forward to kicking your ass. I'm just joking. I'm joking. No.
300 comments later.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm looking forward to rolling Tyler for sure because he's got a great guillotine and I've got a pretty good guillotine too. So I'm just excited to roll with him because I just, I want to roll with everyone. And again, I was just joking, guys. Don't,
we love Tyler. We love Tyler.
Tyler's a great dude. We're going to have a great time making content. But yeah, like what I'm looking forward to the most is just, meeting subscribers and just having a nice time, having a nice vacation, right? Yeah. Because it's not like a competitive camp in the sense that like, we're going to like roll really hard and like, we're just getting ready to, whatever. Like we're just all on vacation, going to have some fun rolls. I'm going to teach some jiu-jitsu. People are going to learn some jiu-jitsu and it's going to be a good time.
Are you guys all going to collaborate? All the creators going to collaborate together?
Yeah, I got to figure out some content ideas, because that's one thing that's kind of been troubling me, not in like a sad way, but I mean, like I'm trying to figure out the perfect type of content to make with everyone. Like we're all going to do roles with each other, and that's a given. But I want to do something cool, like a challenge video or something like that. But it's just hard to really think of what to do, right? Because I had some ideas like, okay, we could do like, the YouTubers like do like teams or something, where like one team against another, and we like almost like quintet style, right? But like
the guy that wins keeps rolling. Stays
yeah,
up
exactly.
there. Yeah.
But I also think, and I don't mean this in a conceited way, but I'm like the biggest one in like a black belt. I think like, if I go first, it's just gonna, like, I don't know. I think I'll probably just win myself. I don't know. I don't know if that sounds conceited, but like, because some of these guys are blue belts and white belts, there's only me and Tyler, you know what I mean, that are black belts. Jedi's really good. He got his brown belt.
Yeah.
But
what are you going to do if somebody taps you on camera? Will you put it up?
100%. But
100%.
And same thing. So Kieren, he's like, when before we rolled, he's like, if I tap you, you got to let me put it on camera. I'm like, if you tap me, you can have my house, you can have my YouTube channel, you can have my kids, you can have everything. So like, I'm confident, and someone's probably going to be like, oh, you're such a douche. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay. No, I'm just like, no, like I'm not worried about that at all. It definitely, if someone were to tap me, I would 100% put it up on YouTube. Like I would let them put it up, because I think that's like, it would be so lame of me to do. Like, I've tapped a ton of people on YouTube, and then to be like, I don't want to be tapped.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No.
But I'm also not going to get tapped. It's just like, just the way it is.
There you go, boys. You got your challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Try to get me. That's what I want. I want you guys to try to get me. I want all these guys to try to kick my ass. And it makes it more fun,
That's why it kills me when people, say certain shit about you, because I know you personally, and I know that it's all in good fun. It's all in good spirits. There's no like, I don't know. There's no conceitedness. There's nothing. It's all in good faith.
Well, yeah, the last podcast, I woke up and chose violence almost, I was just in that kind of mood, some kill everyone shit. But like, some people were like, oh, you're like insecure and like you have an ego and stuff like that. It's like, no, I'm just like, I don't know. I just like to joke around with my friends. I'm just confident and just having a good time. And I'm just kind of trying to be myself and be honest, right? Like, I don't want to like give like the light version of me, you know what I mean? And not be like the real me. And like, again, so, when I said like, if we did that quintet, like 3-on-3, like whatever it is, I am the biggest, you know what I mean? And I am the most experienced. So like, I don't know. I don't think that's conceited to say, especially when they're like a lot of blue belts and white belts. So I don't know.
Because we had that, if anybody has watched the $3,000 challenge where the coaches versus students, I mean, you rolled a whole bunch of people and you didn't get tapped at all.
No.
And there was purple belts, brown belts, brown belt beast. Alex was there. You know what I mean? Like, so I think you can hold your own pretty well. I think you do okay.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the reason why I don't want to do that challenge, because I just don't think that'll be like super exciting almost, but maybe it would be. A couple other ideas I have where it's like, we do like, with subscribers, not YouTubers. Oh, we could do it with YouTubers, but like, we have like either like a wheel or like out of a hat where people got to put me in like bad positions for me, and if they do, then they win. If they get me, they win money. So like, for example, like someone starts like, they have my back, or they have me in like an arm bar, or they have like, I don't know, I mean a triangle or something, right?
Or like they have your ankle.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do the ankle one, because like my ankle can like take so much abuse. So
yeah,
like,
I know.
I'll give that to anyone. But no, and then they can win money or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. But I always worry that any of these challenge videos that involve like, people challenging me, that I'll come across as like a egotistical or douche or something like that, because that has happened on the podcast, right? So like, I don't want that to happen on the YouTube channel. And so I don't know how to structure some sort of challenge without it being like, oh, I'm the greatest or whatever, something like that.
I think people, the actual fans of the channel know how you are, who you really are. And they know you're not like that for real.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, the real fans know. But, sometimes people they just don't, I don't know, relate so much. They don't, even if they are a fan of the YouTube channel itself, they just kind of misconstrue what I'm trying to say and whatnot. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, this is another thing I want to talk about too. I have an idea for another prank video, and so I can buy an old person mask for $2,000, and it looks super realistic. And so what I want to do is like put it on, go to like a jiu-jitsu gym, prank them, and go to an MMA gym and prank them. Go with like spar with the MMA fighters, which I think would be really funny. But my worry is that, you know, people will be like, oh, this is ageism or something like that, or like misconstrue it in some sort of like negative way, because even people talk shit about my prank video, the fake white belt. They're like, this is so awful to do to people, you know, this is like, you know, you're just making them feel bad. Like, no, everyone had a great time.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I can attest to that because I was one of the guys that got fooled, and yeah, everybody had a great time. There was not one person there, I can tell you 100% behind the scenes. Everybody had a great time. Nobody complained. We all had a good laugh, and it was fun.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really get that whole thing. I think it's our phone, or I don't know. But yeah, like that's my worry about doing that prank video, because I don't want to buy the mask for $2,000 and then chicken out because I'm worried about what people are going to say. But I think that would be a really good, it would make for a really good video too. And if anyone's listening, any content creators, don't make the video before me, because it takes like 2 months for the mask to come in, right?
Yeah.
Because they make it custom, and like they put like hair on it, and like they make it look super realistic. So
You're gonna have to wear a sweater or some shit, and then like a t-shirt over it
Yeah.
or something. You gotta hide your trunk legs.
I know.
You know?
Well, that is my plan, is to wear like a long sleeve rash guard and spats, and then like I don't know, like track shorts or track pants over top, and like a big t-shirt on top so you can't see that I have muscles and stuff. And you can even get the fake hands too, which might be good in jiu-jitsu. In MMA it won't matter because I'll have gloves on. But yeah, guys, let me know if you think that'd be a funny prank, or if I'm just opening myself up to criticism. Because if you've listened to the channel for a while, or the podcast for a while, you know I don't really like criticism too much. You know what I mean? So
I personally think it would be a great video. I think it would be hilarious. I don't think you'd get a lot of you get the average asshole, you know, the troll that would leave a shitty comment, and I think that'd be about it.
yeah, that's the thing, which is unavoidable.
Yeah, you're not gonna get canceled over it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I know I can make my money back because like the white belt prank video did very well. So, and I could also get it sponsored. So the money part of it being $2,000, it's not like the big deal, but it just, yeah. So like the thing is, it'll make great content. It'll make me money. It'll be fun. It'll be entertaining. But again, I worry about like ageism, you know, you're making fun of old people. Like, no, I'm going to be old too one day. Yeah. We're all going to be old. It's not a big deal. Right. So, but let me know what you guys think, because yeah, I don't like criticism.
I think it would be great. I think everybody would agree too, but yeah, let us know.
All right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's it for today. Thanks guys for listening to the podcast. And if you're still here, please leave a comment or fist bump, and we'll see you guys next time.